From the Dead Workers Party, a podcast about gaming featuring the people that bring your games to life. These are your core elements.
Core Elements, episode 47, recorded on July 23rd, 2013.
I am Wes Wilson.
And I am Teddy Lee. Oh, I cut you off. I don't know what's going on.
I forgot how this show is supposed to go.
I know. So. Aren't you supposed to talk right at that point?
Yeah, I am. Hi, Teddy.
Hey.
And Teddy Lee is here with us, and he is from... what's the name of the company? I just forgot it.
Cellar Door Games.
Cellar Door Games. And they made an excellent game that just came out. And it is called... Man, I've been playing...
It's called Rogue Legacy.
Rogue Legacy! My brain is just not working today. Say hello, Teddy.
Hey, everybody.
And Cellar Door Games has been around a while. You guys are pretty active in the browser game world, weren't you?
Yeah. We've mostly been making Flash games for like the majority of our life, I guess. Yeah, so I guess you've played some of them. Our most popular is Don't Shit Your Pants.
Yes.
And Linux. Yeah.
Yep. And I was really surprised. I actually am really looking forward to. I had a busy week. I haven't been able to play it yet, but I really want to go check out You Have One Day, or I Have One Day.
Oh yeah. I highly recommend that. Even though it didn't do well, it's my favorite.
Really?
Now, what is it?
It's an adventure game with a time mechanic, so you can constantly go backwards or forwards in time to try and solve this like meta puzzle. So I don't want to spoil too much, but it's like a puzzle in a puzzle. You have a bunch of your standard adventure game puzzles, but your solutions require cost, time, and so forth. And you have to optimize what you're doing in order to beat the game in as little time as possible to get the best ending.
But what everyone here will probably know you for is Rogue Legacy.
Yeah, nobody cares about I Have One Day.
I know. I was thinking about it. Like, wow, I jumped really quick off of the product that he is working on. He's been working on recently. So, what when you thought about Rogue Legacy, what was on your mind? What was the focus when you created it?
So when we originally were making Rogue Legacy, it was actually called DS2D, which was short for Demon Souls 2D, because that's what was our original inspiration. And the original game, completely different from what we've got right now. It didn't have any. Yeah, it didn't have procedural generation. It had a different combat system, and it didn't even have children. But then you make games, and the one thing that we did was we wanted to make this game, and obviously it was super out of budget. Like no way we could ever make it. So then we started going, okay, well let's do something different because we don't really like doing the same thing, anyways.
Yes.
You mean the same thing as someone else?
Yeah, like if we made Dark Souls 2D or Demon Souls 2D, it would, not be as good as Demon Souls 2 that's coming out, right?
Yeah.
So what's the point? So then that's when we decided to tackle procedural generation. And like the way we make games is, I think it's pretty different from other people. We kind of just go in with a very, very basic concept, and then we keep adding stuff to it or taking it away.
I was about to say, adding things is usually a bad idea in indie development.
Yeah, but okay, we don't have any documents, like no papers, no nothing. We just kind of wing it, which is super dangerous, and it's blown up in our face like 1 or 2 times. But
By 1 or 2, do you mean like 6 or 7?
Yeah. We've actually canned 2 projects, although one of them was due to art and the other one was mechanics weren't working, which I think is a pretty good rate. Although that's not saying that everything was successful, right? That's just games that have never seen the light of day.
Yeah.
Right.
And so Rogue Legacy, as it's out now, is basically a roguelike side scroller. Is that how you describe it?
Yeah, I'd call it like Castlevania styled roguelite.
Yes.
With genealogy in it. So for the people who don't know, the big twist to the game is that when you die, your child takes over. and each child has genetic traits. So they can have gigantism and be really tall, or they can be like they could be a hypochondriac, and you can't tell how much damage they're taking because all their numbers are skewed up because they over exaggerate on everything.
That took me forever to figure out what that one was. Like, and the way it was I think I had like 6 or 7, not 6 or 7, but I had several hypochondriacs like all in a row, and they get hit and they take like something like 3,426 damage, and I'd be like, man, they must have like a really big hit point bar or something like that. And then I had someone that wasn't a hypochondriac. I was like, what? He's not taking any damage, but the bar's still going. What? Oh, hypochondriac.
Well, my favorite, and I commented on this a couple episodes, was the whole you get gay, and people go, but it doesn't do anything.
Yeah. It doesn't do anything. Well, it does something. It changes the ending slightly. But very subtle.
I've never seen the ending, so I would not know.
That's okay. Most people haven't. I think it's a tough game.
And you do all your game design with your brother?
Yeah. So the way it's kind of broken down is I do the game design, level design, game balancing, and my brother does literally everything else, which is like a huge amount of work. He does like 90% of the work on every game we do.
He's the OCD one?
He's the older brother, I guess, is that anything. Yeah.
And are you two the only ones that work for your company?
No, so we actually we worked with 3 other people. So we contracted them. As Glauber Kotaki, who's the artist, who's literally all the art in the game, except for one asset is by him. And that's the background that you see in the mainer. Oh. Yeah. And 2 musicians, Judson Cohen, who goes by TEDx, and Gordon McGladdery, who goes by Shell in the Pit. Both really
if my name was Gordon McGladdery, I would go by Gordon McGladdery. That is an awesome name.
It is a pretty cool name.
Well, we will talk more about you and your creations. But first, look at that, I totally stole it.
You're stealing my bit. The most popular bit of all time.
Lab Notes.
So this week, I have actually had it rough. My convention PlayOnCon was this week, and if you can't tell...
I had to go to a awesome convention and have so much fun and drink so much alcohol and hang out with so many cool people. I had so rough.
I hung out with Seth Bling and Mark IRL. I hung out with Robert Moran and Roman. I hung out with all kinds of people.
Robert Moran, whatever. Who cares?
Professor Shy Guy played at it. It was great. Man. Extraordinary Contraptions played. It was awesome.
So did you play any games, or were you just out like glad handing?
No, I run the programming. So I actually we had a really great like gaming building this year, but it was way away from programming, so I couldn't even like go in and kind of window shop the gaming without walking, about 100 yards, and I had too much stuff to take care of. But it was a really great time. But prepping for it and all that kind of stuff, I really didn't get to do much. Plus, there was a Steam sale going on, and I was busy keeping up with my voting so that I got all the cards I could get. Because I've followed down Spencer's path of evil.
My path of evil.
Yes. This card thing, like I might have not even been interested in it, and then you hinted something about it once, and I went, really? So anyway, I did pick up a few games in the Steam sale. I picked up is it Reus, which is kind of a world building game, and it has kind of a neat mechanic and a cool little art style. I'm poking around with it. I'm only about an hour in because like when I finally got around to stop working on PlayOnCon stuff and start playing games, I would just pass out at the computer. But so far it looks kind of clever and kind of cool. I'm interested to see how that turns out. The basic premise is world building, and then you're trying to help the civilizations advance. But if you're not careful, the civilizations can rise up against you. So it's kind of a balancing act. of keeping the man down and letting him have his way. Additionally, I got gifted Triple Town by our good friends who I had never had the Steam version of it, but there are cards, and so Clyde Frog gave me Triple Town, and I have been poking around with that because I want cards for some stupid reason. I don't know what it is. I also picked up Fez, which I've wanted. I got the Borderlands 2 season pass. I picked up a 4-pack of Sanctum too because I liked Sanctum and Orcs Must Die so much. I'm really looking forward to that. And there was a great deal on Dishonored, and I grabbed that as well. The only other games of those that I played though was the Reus. I did play a little bit more of The Last of Us, but I mostly just hugged that disc for another week and ate $14.
So are you still glad you rented it?
No, I should have bought it and sold it. It is not a rental game if you have a family. Like if I could have gotten in my house and played The Last of Us with nobody interrupting me and nobody that was squeamish or didn't like gross, disgusting fungus monsters eating your neck open, then
there is no such thing as a rental game when you have a family.
I think I agree with that. Like I thought I could pull it off.
I mean, unless it's for your 8-year-old.
Okay, yes, I'll buy that. But even then, I kind of thought, cinematic game, it's a rental. But no, next time I will buy and I will sell it used. Period. What about you, Spencer? Oh, is there anything else? No. What about you, Spencer? What have you been playing?
Well, before I do what I played, I wanted to ask Teddy, do you do the Steam stuff at all?
Yeah, I got into the Steam stuff. I bought like 25 games, and
wow.
I'm probably gonna play like 4 of them.
Ever?
Yeah, I've got like 200 games, all from Steam sales, and I don't play any of them.
Are you gonna install them?
Yes, and then I delete them when I run out of memory.
I do the same thing. It's like we're twins, Teddy.
It's pretty retarded. I've heard.
So what did you pick up?
So off the top of my head, got Borderlands 2 double pack. Or I bought 2 copies. I can't remember if they had a double pack.
That game is so awesome.
Yeah. Well, we just played it for 40 minutes, so not too sure. It does play a lot like Borderlands 1 though, so I'll have to see if we get tired of it pretty quickly.
I think you'll really enjoy that. Did you pick up the DLC pack, the season pass as well?
No, because the deal wasn't as good. I don't think. I got Gunpoint and Resident Evil 6. Almost every game that has co-op, I have to pick up just because.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I also got Reuse. Man. I don't know. A lot of things.
Okay. I've got a list of what I got here.
Oh, no. Here it comes.
Put it down. What?
Here it goes. Read them out.
It's not that bad.
Really?
It's not that bad, yeah. I got Risen 2, because I was a big fan of the first one that I haven't played yet. I got The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing because it was $7, and it looks so stupid. I mean, it just putting the name Van Helsing in it ever since that movie with Wolverine in it just makes it sound stupid. I also got Reus, so we all 3 got Reus. I got Natural Selection 2. I got System Shock 2 for $3, so I can stop worrying about my disc being scratched.
I picked that one up too. I thought it was. I have never played it.
Wow, it's great. Toki Tori 2 Plus. Was a big fan of the first Toki Tori, and a couple that were just on sale but not the daily sales, and those were Cart Life, Magical Drop 5, and McPixel. That's what I got.
Yeah, I looked at McPixel, but I didn't get it.
Yeah, it's freaky. But as far as playing, I have only been playing one game. During the Steam sale, I played none of the games that I bought. That's not true. I played a little bit of Raves, but that's it. I've been playing Project X Zone on the 3DS.
Oh.
And it is a ridiculous game.
What makes it ridiculous?
Well, okay, first off, the entire draw of the game is that it is a massive crossover between let's see, Capcom, Sega, and Namco characters.
Okay.
All thrown together in a tactical RPG. And it's not hard, and the combat is completely repetitive, and the storyline is terrible. But oh my god, you keep collecting these characters, and they're so awesome, so I keep playing. I've literally, I've got 30 hours into it.
Nice.
And I think I'm a little over halfway done. It's ridiculously overlong. It should have been done at about 15 hours, but I'm not going to let it beat me. I'm going to keep playing it. And
I refuse to submit to you, game.
yeah, it's like not leaving a terrible movie. Like, I paid for my ticket, damn it. I'm sitting here until freaking Lawnmower Man 2 is over.
Why do you gotta
And that's it. That's all I have been playing.
Why you gotta be mad at Lawnmower Man 2?
Because it's the worst movie I have ever seen. Max Headroom is suddenly Job. Oh, wow.
So anyway, well, okay. Well, I think is there anything else you want to talk about, Teddy? Anything you've been playing?
Oh, I actually also picked up Starseed Pilgrim, which is pretty good. Like, at first I hated it for first hour or so, but, you know, once you kind of suss out the mechanics, it's pretty interesting.
And what is that? I'm not even sure I've heard of that.
I don't know how to explain it. It's like a game where you plant seeds, and then they grow into stuff, but the whole time, the world's falling apart, so you got to keep growing your garden and running along with it. Yeah, it doesn't really sound very interesting.
Is that the one? Now, there was something I saw that was kind of had kind of an MMO feel to it that was all about planting and using the magic that came from the plants that you put in the ground. Was that that?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't play
No, that's that was a Japanese game.
Okay. Okay.
And it was, gosh, now I'm not going to remember what it's called. It's going to kill me for the rest of this episode.
Okay.
And we're going to finish the show, and I'm going to go, damn it, that's what it was called.
You can remember it later. We can move on. Did you play Last of Us, Teddy?
Oh, yes, I did. I actually beat it like yesterday. It took me like a month to finish that game off.
A whole month? See?
Yeah.
Have you got a family?
No, just because working on this game, so I only get to play like an hour every 4 days or so.
Yeah.
Aren't you glad you didn't rent it from Redbox?
Yes, super glad. Although, I don't know if it's the same for everybody else, but I didn't find the game actually fun.
There were a lot of the gameplay, and I'm really anti-spoiler, so don't give me any plot points. But a lot of the game I found to be very tedious. The actual gameplay. I was in it for the story. Some of the gameplay was interesting, but first off, I didn't really know it was a stealth game to start off with, and the beginning was very frustrating trying to just do general combat.
Yes.
And then once I realized it was a stealth game, it changed. But when I would come to a room that would have lots of zombies that I needed to get to the other side of, there were times where I resented the game.
Yes.
For putting me in that position. I
That's a good word.
I did not deserve to have to deal with all those zombies. It really wasn't fair. And so like I kind of sucked that into my whole gameplay experience as like maybe a success in some way. Like is it necessarily a good gameplay element when you feel the same frustrations in real life that you would if you were there? Is that possibly a success and not a failure?
I say no.
You know what? If you have to walk through a room full of flesh-eating mushrooms, I don't think tedium is ever an emotion that comes into your brain. I'm just speaking for myself.
Well,
more like I need new pants, because I keep peeing in these. I mean, how terrifying would that be, really?
no, I understand. But at the same time, like,
And instead you're saying, oh man, I have to deal with more of these things that are so tedious.
well, maybe tedious wasn't the best word. Frustrating, enraging. Like the thing about the combat is that made me the most mad was trying to, like, you would even have the gun you needed and it would be loaded, and then you would turn towards an enemy and somehow you weren't able to like really lock onto him and get a good hit on him. And I mean, I guess that would happen in real life. I mean, if I was fighting a bunch of mushrooms and they were really aggressive.
Yeah, the key is to jump on them.
Yeah.
From above.
Anyway. Okay.
Odin Sphere.
Odin Sphere? Is that the game?
That's the name of the game where you run around, you plant things.
Okay. And they have magic in them?
Yeah. Now we know that. Moving on.
Yeah. By the way, Last of Us, you have sway in your hand, which is why it's so hard to shoot people.
Yeah.
I was wondering why too. It took me a while.
And like, it's not that I am not enjoying it. I am enjoying the experience very, very much. But I'm recognizing.
It's funny that you say that. And the only reason I say that is because I come away with tiny little frustrations in these big games that ruin everything for me. Like, I didn't enjoy BioShock Infinite because of tiny little frustrations that built up over time and made me hate everything about the game. And what you're describing is that game to me.
Yeah.
And so while you are able to say, oh, it's the worst game I've ever played sometimes, but
No, and it's not that. It's just that, like, I am treating it like a cinematic game experience. And I'm very much enjoying that. And like there was
What do you mean by that? Like you're treating it like does that mean you're treating it like a movie that you're watching and occasionally you get to shoot a zombie in the face?
Yes. I'm treating it like a cinematic game.
And that's a good thing?
Yes. In this particular case, there are a lot of feels. There's a lot of good stuff going on here. I am laugh all you want.
No, I was laughing at your use of the word feels.
It's I don't really know how to describe it, except to say that were you to remove out all the cinematic elements and just leave the gameplay, I think The Last of Us would be really kind of a disposable experience. However, I do not feel that the failures of the gameplay hurt the cinematic playthrough experience that badly. Do I wish it was better? Yes.
So you're saying you wished it was just a movie?
I would not mind it as just a movie. And
see, that's not a positive thing for a game to me.
I would also prefer it as a movie.
Wow.
Well, I don't know if I would prefer it as a movie, but like, for instance, Heavy Rain. Heavy Rain's gameplay was just a cool experiment, but it was a cinematic experience. And I can value that.
It still would have sucked as a movie because the story made no sense.
No, it did not. You shut up. But
we should move on.
We should.
Yes.
Eureka! Ow!
So my first article that I have here, Nintendo claimed in a I think it was a interview that the majority of gamers today can't finish level 1 in Super Mario Brothers.
Was it the majority of gamers or the majority of people?
Majority of gamers.
Wow.
And
like level 1-1.
That's what I'm assuming as well. Unable to finish the first level in the original Super Mario Brothers. And I'm a little bit kind of shocked by this. I feel like it shows a condescension from a game studio towards the people they're marketing towards, saying, well, it used to be better back in the day. But at the same time, like, I don't agree with the premise in and of itself. I think that most gamers could do level 1 of Super Mario Brothers more easily than they could back in the day. How do you feel about this?
I'm very confused. So I don't know.
Is this a scientific study, or is it just like a general idea, like general belief they have?
They're saying in this article that around 90% of test participants were unable to complete the first level of Super Mario Brothers. That doesn't even make any sense to me. I can't even.
I guess where's the if this was like something that they were like testing people on, where's the condescension there? I don't understand your complaint.
even if that was tested and found out, I don't know if I would talk about it, to other people. as Nintendo. Like a scientist, that's one thing, but to say to the world, hey, most gamers can't even do it as good as we used to do it. Do it.
I have literally nothing to say about this.
I mean, do you really think that gaming skill has dropped dramatically?
No, I think the number of people, the population of gamers has gone up significantly. And I think that a lot of the specific skill set that you used for Super Mario Brothers is not used in a lot of games these days. So, I don't see this as a value judgment at all. I can say I haven't used my platforming skills, with the possible exception of Rogue Legacy, much lately at all. So, I just don't. It's not a value judgment to say Super Mario Brothers is no longer the game it once was. I don't think.
I don't know. This really struck me though. Like when I read it, it struck me as really beyond belief. I just couldn't fathom it. In the article, they talk about how they've been conducting this test over the past few years to see how difficult they should make their games, and have found the number of people unable to finish the first level is steadily increasing. But at the same time, like I feel like I could.
What does your focus testing tell you, Teddy?
My focus. You mean for our games?
Yeah, I know. You probably have this vast marketing empire that.
Yes. So massive. So our focus test was 2 guys who we were hoping they would finish the game before we released it, and they didn't. So 0 testing. We just released.
That's pretty awesome.
Now, are you sure you should be releasing that information to the public, that you think so little of the people playing your game?
Yes.
Anyway, so maybe I'm the only one that thought this defied belief, but it seemed to me that I just don't see it. To me, it sounded like back when I was a kid, we used to have to walk uphill both ways. Rock music's no good today. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like fake nostalgia for a reality that may not have even existed. So, anyway, see, Dog Frank in the chat room said it. He just says it sounds untrue. See, he agrees with me. Somebody agrees with me.
Well, if they gave them 1 life, I think I would actually die.
Really?
Like if you just got 1 life to play it, yeah, because you can still screw up, and it's pretty brutal, considering like if you don't know about mushrooms and stuff.
Okay, if you don't know about mushrooms and turtles and that moving sprites will kill you, yes. If you think that holes in the ground will not kill you, yes. I could see not finishing 1-1.
You know why people can't finish it?
Why?
There's not a 4.5-hour tutorial. If there was a 4.5-hour unskippable tutorial that has no gameplay and you're just watching a video, everyone would be able to finish it.
Oh, maybe.
I agree.
Maybe. So moving on to
I've ever heard. I agree.
To other things that I have heard. Okay, I got an article here from The Verge. Evidently, the Ouya.
I think it's Ouya.
Ouya has no hits.
Yeah, I think that's how you're supposed to say it.
Has no hits so far. Everyone who is buying it is evidently almost universally playing free content. Very little money is being spent on games on the Ouya. Is this a surprise to anyone?
No.
You build a basically an Android screen for your TV, and this doesn't really surprise me all that much. Now, I have heard some good things about some of the games on there, and of course, I can't remember what I was thinking of, but I have heard. Is it Towerfall? Is that the one that everyone's raving over?
By everyone, you mean the 7 people that haven't. Oh, yeah.
What are you talking about? It sold millions, didn't it?
No, it has not. It has sold tens of thousands. That's the thing. Who cares how many people?
It sold 2,000, I believe.
2,000? Like since the Kickstarter?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's some
Since
insanely
release,
low
yeah.
number since the Kickstarter.
Yeah, but they raised $8.5 million in the Kickstarter, and the unit costs $100. So that would be 100,000 units right there.
That's not how Kickstarter works.
Okay, so
No, I'm saying that's true because there are a lot of people that spent more than that during the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
The number of installed units, it was somewhere in the range of 83,000, if I remember reading correctly.
Okay.
And don't quote me on that, but that's the number that I saw, which is a very small number. I mean, why would you develop for that over even a cell phone?
yeah,
So it's just this exercise in it. You know what it seems like to me? It seems like what are those internet dollars that are out?
Oh, the Bitcoins?
Bitcoins.
Yeah, it seems like people that are that hate the system, trying to do it themselves, and being surprised when when it's either not working or blowing up in their face.
yeah, but Bitcoins are making a lot of money right now.
Yeah, for not for the right people.
There is no social justice behind Bitcoins. Okay, so nobody's surprised. I think that's universally
Are
agreed.
you surprised, Wes?
No, I wasn't. But at the same time, like I read good reviews of Towerfall. You know, people were like, "This is a reason to get something like this. That is that good of a game," and the fact that they couldn't even have their flagship game that was making everyone feel like they needed to buy it a success. That's kind of surprising. So this next article that I put in here is really it's kind of a retrospective on people who've made hit indie games and what kind of has happened to them since, and it's called The Harsh Reality of Indie Game Success. It covers 4 different games. Not ironically, conveniently, they are all people who have been on this show. And it talks about the difficulty of moving in the indie environment into what you're going to do next, and whether you have the resources and stuff to move on. Mostly, this is just something for everybody who's listening, but they do cover Journey and Super Meat Boy and Witness. Anyway, I thought it was kind of a cool little article, and since every single person had been on this podcast, it made me very happy. And then everyone was quiet.
We're number 7.
That's a cool article. I haven't seen it before. What's it cover? Or what's the general conclusion they come to?
Well, it's just it's basically just letting people know, okay, so Edmund McMillan made a great game with Super Meat Boy, is that enough to move him to the next project? And it kind of discusses how one single successful indie game isn't necessarily your magic ticket to eternal success. So,
Well, I mean, what about you, Teddy? Is Rogue Legacy doing well enough to get you to your next project?
Yeah, it's done good enough that we can. It's done good enough that we can start a new project and start a new IP, with that safety of failing,
Right.
and then we'd have to start Rogue Legacy too, if it bombed. But yeah.
how
So no Rogue Legacy DLC then?
Oh, I mean, we're looking into it, but the first thing that completely whomped us because we've never done it is just customer support. That literally has been taking up all of our time. And then we've been it's a lot, and we've been been doing contacts, businessy stuff which we weren't expecting,
yeah.
trying to get us ports for Mac and Linux because people are asking for it, and we were going to do it ourselves. And it's it's going to take us 6 months or something because we have no idea what we're doing. And, we've made enough money that we can say, okay, we can actually hire somebody to do it for us who can do it in 2 months or something.
Is there some incentive within Steam itself for you to make a Steam Play game?
What's a Steam Play?
Well, so that it's available on Mac and Linux through Steam.
Oh, no, the only reason we're doing it is because we promised it. And we don't want to break promise.
Okay.
Inspiration.
So we have some excellent sponsors for the show. For those who are regular listeners, you probably heard all of these, but I'm going to go over them anyway. First off, you can go to netflix.com/deadworkersparty and get a free 30-day trial to Netflix. If you sign up for it, you'll help the show. You will also get 30 free days of Netflix. That seems like a pretty good deal. Additionally, we have a 30-day Audible trial. You can go to audibletrial.com/core elements and get 30 free days of Audible. You'll get 1 credit towards the book there. And if you decide to subscribe, you will get a free book each month, as well as 30% off all additional purchases. Lastly, we have a great company called Loot Crate. They send you all kinds of geeky swag. If you go to lootcrate.com/deadworkersparty and put in the coupon code DEAD, you'll get $3 off your purchase of geeky swag delivered to you each month. And all of these will be in the show notes, and you can go check that out. So you guys were in Flash games before you started Rogue Legacy, and I noticed you didn't stick with a single genre. You guys made an RPG, a puzzle platformer, and you even kind of made a shmup. So is your next project going to be an MMO? Are you trying to defeat all of the genres?
Yes. Yes, that's a short answer. No, just we like to challenge ourselves, so we're constantly going into different genres, right? So we have like a reverse way of designing games, I guess you could say, where it's like, if you had a maze and that's how you're making a game, you start from the beginning and you reach the end. We usually go backwards, where it's like, okay, we know what the problem is, so then we're going to work backwards to the solution. I don't know if that made any sense. That's how we kind of do it.
Yes.
So, every single time it's just been like, oh, well, we have this beef with this type of genre. And then we go, well, what can we do? And then we just try to tackle it. Honestly, if we were making a game which wasn't like, we weren't trying to solve something, I don't know, we'd be pretty bored. And I think that's, yeah.
So you're not in it to make money, you're in it to amuse yourself.
Well, it's definitely more fun. Well, that's what I do it for. I don't know if that's but we're always in it to make money, like hopefully to make money, right? Because that just gives you so much ease of mind.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I mean, when you're a creative person, the ideal goal is for you not to have to worry about money. And it would be great to make free games for the rest of your life, but at the same time, like you want to make some money at it. How hard is it to work with family members?
Not that hard. I don't know. Maybe it's super hard. Like, even though we worked with 5 people as a core, our families helped us out throughout this whole thing, right? Like the trailer, like that awesome trailer, that was made by my brother, Benny, right? So he just he came in and he just did that for us. Our sister came in at the end and really helped us out with the customer support and everything. I don't know. We're a pretty close-knit family, right? Like, we were born and we didn't have a lot of money, so we all kind of stuck together. So I'm not sure if it's just the same as your prototypical 4-person family.
Is it also because you're Canadian and Canadians are also nice to each other?
Maybe. That's probably a big reason.
Now, if you were to get bigger, are there parts of the job that I know you said you give everything to your brother except the stuff that you do. What's your favorite part about designing games, and which part would you delegate if you had, a steady stream of employees to do your bidding?
I guess the favorite part that I get from designing games is problem solving, because I don't know if there's any other job like it, but you're always getting new problems, different issues that you have to resolve, and it's never as simple as just going like, oh, we'll do the first thing that comes to mind, right? Because you have to do it. You have to do it correctly. You have to do it quickly, and you have to do it cheap.
Right.
So it's kind of like an adventure game, which is my favorite genre. So we'll sometimes hit these massive blockades, and it's like, oh, how are we going to do it? How are we going to do it? How are we going to try and think outside the box to come up with a cheap and easy to implement solution? And those are the funnest parts, I guess. As to what I would delegate, all of the polish, because that is not fun.
Yeah, and all the customer support.
All the customer support. Oh, I don't ever want to do that again.
I wanted to ask, about the customer support. One of the things that just came up recently was I don't remember which game it was, but one of the indie games came out and said they did the Minecraft thing. Anyone can record our footage and put it up online and da-da-da-da-da, and that's fine. And I don't remember who it was because, frankly, so many of them have done it. I was wondering if that's something that you've had to deal with, people calling up or emailing you and saying, hey, can I put this on Twitch or stuff like that?
Yeah, we put up on our FAQ that anybody can do it, but we still get like 2 or 3 emails a day going, oh, can I have the authorization to?
Yeah.
I figure it must be like a burden eventually of having to tell people yes or no.
Yeah, it gets a little tiring. And I have this weird OCD where I'm like, oh, if I don't write a custom message to them, they'll catch on that this is a copy pasted. So I type a lot. Complete waste of time on my part.
See, I would have a little notepad page up on the side with like all, my stock answers. Kickstarter and Steam kind of have been like 2 big indie sources for those like golden tickets to get out of the doldrums of indie game development. What has been your experience trying to promote your product and trying to get more people interested in what you're doing?
Well, so I'm not sure. I think ours was like a really crazy situation. So we didn't have a Kickstarter or anything. Like we self-funded it, and then we went to Greenlight and we tried to go that route. And Greenlight is like super brutal. It's Steam doesn't really do much to promote your game. All of your promotions you have to do yourself, but they have a lot of analytics in their system, so you can see like how many people have viewed your site, how many people have said yes, and so forth. And the scariest thing is you can see the drop-off rate. So if we don't say anything for 24 hours, the drop-off rate on people trying to vote us on Greenlight plummets to like 10% of what it used to be.
Wow.
So yeah, it's like we're gonna make it, we're gonna leave. But then when you see how little happens when you leave it alone, it just forces you to go back and try and get it going, especially because they like literally have a ticker, which doesn't show exactly, but it's more or less a good estimate of when you will be greenlit.
Yeah.
Right? So you can just like look at it and go, oh, if we leave it alone, it'll be 3 years until we get greenlit.
Ouch.
So yeah, so it's just like literally for a month and a half, we did nothing but try to promote the game. It was crazy brutal.
What
Did you come away with a positive or a negative opinion of Greenlight? Because there's a lot of indie developers that are very critical of it.
Oh yeah. So the one super positive is just the I guess you'd call it the Valve community, which is like the people running Greenlight. They're super nice, they're super active, and they're really fast on getting changes done, like if there's something wrong. But Greenlight is huge. There's like when we went on to like I think over 1,200 people that were applying for Greenlight still. And you know, just to get on there is somewhat of a challenge itself. But I don't think it's doing what it's supposed to do.
It seems broken in some way.
Yeah, because there's a lot of games that have been greenlit, which haven't done well. So it feels like, and this could be, it's hard to say because we don't like have all the details, but it feels like all the marketing you're going to do to get the game greenlit won't correlate into sales.
Do you think
that also takes away from marketing you can do after it's greenlit, once it's available in a wider market?
Yeah,
I would think.
And that actually leads to a different problem because there's no like degradation of votes. So it's like the more votes, it's what you want. You want more votes. That's kind of how the system works. So all of a sudden, a lot of people are pushing their games onto Greenlight really early on, like when their game is not even alpha. So then if those games do well and they do get greenlit, now they've got like a 2-year period where they're just waiting to get the game finished.
Right.
So it's like this Greenlight system is kind of quasi-forcing all these indie developers into doing something that's not good. What they should be doing is the game's almost finished, then you put it on Greenlight, but that's counterintuitive to getting votes.
Right.
So it's messy, and But I think Valve will know what's up, and they're going to try and fix it.
Yeah. It seems like, I'm always a little frustrated by the idea that a digital download service has to worry about having, like
Shelf space.
Yeah, exactly. I understand
it's
you don't
like
want to.
They have engineered scarcity into the system for no good reason.
Yeah,
and that could be me being very cynical, but.
And I mean, I guess I kind of understand. You might want your new releases to only be 1 page long. Each week, and I can understand that a little bit, but to a degree, maybe you need to come up with a different way to categorize, or put more people put more stuff on the first page. So, like, do you already have your next IP picked out? Do you kind of know where you're going to go, or are you still brainstorming that?
Well, I don't know. It's hard to say because we have like multiple ideas that we want to do, but then even for like this game for Rogue Legacy, we had ideas piled up, and this one we just kind of did on the spur. So I'm pretty sure whatever we have planned right now won't even fly, as we just go for something off the cuff.
So since it's clearly not going to be a finished product, why don't you just tell us about it?
Oh no, actually, literally, like, no idea. There's one game that we wanted to make was Johnny Bicycle, which we canceled way back, and I'd like to do that one again, but that's only because it's a challenge on a narrative side,
right,
which we never really tackled before.
This
game.
Did you gut another game idea to put some of the stuff into Rogue Legacy that you did? Like, I mean, do you come up with all these great game ideas and then go, oh wait, I want to take almost all of that game and put it into this one?
No, but what Rogue Legacy originally was going to be has been gutted. Like, a lot of that has been lost. A lot of ideas that I still really liked, it just didn't mesh with what the game was becoming, so
right,
we just throw it out.
Do you think you're going to go back and revisit some of those in the long run?
Maybe. I mean, there's still, like, we still had some cool ideas that we'd want to tackle, but they still play with the kind of side-scrolling combat system.
And they've done that.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that again.
Exactly. I don't want to do that anymore.
Awesome. Well,
I have one more question, and that was, so you sort of view game developing as sort of like an adventure game, right?
In the best case scenarios.
In the
best. Well, in the funnest parts of it, yeah.
Okay. Do you have like Roberta Williams, like they're making the problems for you to solve? Like for this next game, programming problem, you have to like shave a cat and use it to make a mustache.
Yes, exactly.
I think you didn't shave the cat. What was it? You like had to use tape to get fur off anyway, never mind.
You've gone too far. So we do have one email from a listener. This is from Bailey Weinstock. He says, when designing and coding a game, what is the longest part?
Coding. 100% definitely coding. So one thing that we've done, or we usually do, and this is because I'm partially lazy, is that my brother will start programming the game like months before we really start doing any design. So one problem with studios, at least I find, is that everything goes in synchronization, right? So people are designing, and the programmers are programming, and the artists are drawing. And what happens is the designers who will like design whatever the mechanics pretty early on, takes them whatever 2 weeks or 2 months, right? And the artists are doing their drawings, but the programmers will need like 7 months to do all that. So then designers will start over designing. They just keep designing more and more and more, and the artists keep drawing more and more and more. And you're like, oh well, the artists are just drawing, except that adds all this additional overhead for the programmers, because now they have to optimize so all this art can get in. They have to create, stream loading and all this stuff, and that's why I think all this stuff balloons.
Right.
So, like for Rogue Legacy, my brother quit his job, and he's been working on it for a whole year. And during that time, I was working at another studio, and I was just doing this on weekends and holidays, the design part. And then only for the last 5 months did I actually work on it full time.
Right. Has Rogue Legacy? It's gotten a lot of great press. Does it feel like a financial success for you?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say. We haven't actually gotten a check yet from Steam because you have to wait a month, right? And then all the taxes will be deducted. So we don't know. I mean, it's done well enough.
Right.
So, like, we're happy with that. And, yeah, it's done well.
Okay. Well, cool.
I guess.
Well, I mean, no, I'm always fascinated, how easy it is to read. I mean, like, it looks... I mean, I heard about the game when it came out all over the place. That's all everybody was talking about. And usually that translates into, a pretty serious financial success. So I'm just, I'm just kind of curious how that twists. So I guess we'll go ahead and.
Can I say real quick how refreshing it is to have an indie developer admit to laziness? Like we've talked to a lot of indie developers on this show, and they all seem like these incredible overachieving, like supermen that they eat and breathe games, and that's all they ever do, and they never sound laid back about it. And you're just like, yeah, I'm kind of lazy, so this is how we do it. I love that.
I am the youngest brother in the family, so if that sheds any light on it.
Well, it's also, I sometimes I'll ask developers, like, how do you organize your day, and I kind of put them on the spot. But like from some of the interviews I've read with you, I could kind of tell that you were sort of easygoing, and so I didn't dig into that too much because I figured, what the one quote I loved the most was that you didn't even really figure. You didn't do any hard work to figure out when you should release the game. You just kind of said, "Oh, July sounds good, doesn't it?" Yeah.
So actually, the way that actually happened was we were like trying to get the game done, and we were sending out like early review copies to press to whoever would take it, and Phil Kohler contacted us from Polygon, and he was like, "Oh, cool. So when is this game going to be released, and is there any embargo?" And they were like, "Oh, we don't know. We'll tell you in a minute." And then we thought about it, and then we just posted it up on Twitter and everything. So it was pretty risky.
It's sort of like the uncertainty principle of game release. Like, you never know when the game's going to release, and once you look at it, the game release changes. And never mind.
Yeah. It did help because we contacted Valve, and we're like, "Hey, can we release now?" And they're like, "You shouldn't release then. You should release here." And we're like, "Okay, thanks." And then we did it then. They know stuff. We don't know stuff, but we'll trust Valve.
It's probably because they knew when the Steam sale was going to be. They're like, "No, you don't want to release then. It's a terrible time to release a new game. No one will ever."
We owe Valve $1 million.
Well, that was kind of funny. There was somebody who released their game the day before the beginning of Steam sale, and somebody else was like, "Wow, that is the most unfortunate time to release your game, is the day before the Steam sale."
And then RIPD released during the sale.
Yes.
Not that anyone cares about that, but it was.
I didn't even know they were making a game.
Yeah, it's out on Steam. It came out during the sale.
Oh man.
So much interest, so much. Okay, so I guess we'll wind this down. I really appreciate everybody joining in. If you get a chance, do go onto iTunes and leave us some reviews. We need to give the podcast some love. Share it with a friend. Tweet about it. We need to get some love out there for the Core Elements, because I keep being amazed at the guests I'm able to get on the show. And I feel like it deserves a little more of an audience than it probably has. Teddy, I really appreciate you coming on. I have expressed interest in trying to get you guys on, and it was really great that I could do it in such a timely manner. So I appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me.
Okay, Spencer, anything derogatory or inflammatory you have to add to that?
Shut up, Wes.
And I hope everyone has a great week.
You've been listening to Core Elements, exploring gaming one element at a time, a podcast by the Dead Workers Party. See the show notes and get more information at coreelements.deadworkers.com or leave us a voicemail at 256-812-1010.
This podcast is a part of the Dead Workers Party Network. Listen to other fine shows at deadworkers.com/network.